This conference will now be recorded.
And we also thought of discussing about Maven project creation and all. We'll see them today.
Okay.
So I have generic, I have my HTTP servlet, I have a servlet 2 with the interface, and my servlet 1, something like that. So I would like to create an object. So if I run the application, 1 minute, the system is getting slow. So I have init method, and that is a servlet 2 with interface. Here I'm writing a message, system.out.println.
Capital S.
I would like to see this message. The servlet system.out.init method is something I can say that when the object got created, the first method will be your init method. So, but your service method will be called only when you give the request. Okay.
Okay.
Are you getting now? For this servlet, I need to give the number in my web.xml. In my web.xml, what is the servlet name? Where is that? Where is that? Servlet with interface. Servlet with servlet 2. This is the one. So for this servlet, I would like to give a number so that it should be the first one which has to be created automatically. For that reason, I'll say load on startup tag. Control C. And I'm writing load on startup. Number 1 I'm giving. So I have
Okay.
also for my servlet number 2. That means my servlet with interface. This is the one, which is my number 2.
Okay.
And so that means first that object will be created, and then this object will be created, and also the message will be the servlet with the this is my servlet objects or something. Now I'm going to run this project on the server, the complete project, not this thing. The complete project I would like to run it on the server. So, do you know about session?
I guess the word I forgot. It's been long. Session cookies.
Not a problem. Server getting started. Yes.
So other two browsers will get open.
I'm sorry. So here in the console, you can see, hey, I'm automatically called and I'm always first. Okay, so this is object of servlet 2 created. So that means I have given I'm auto-called and I'm always first. Okay, who's the first one? That means I have given number 1 also for someone. Let me go and check it out. In the generic servlet, I might have, yeah, I have overridden. So that means for this generic servlet class also, I've given the number 1 only, I think. So that's the reason it's calling first. So only one servlet should be first. I have to give the numbering properly. If it is 0, also that's fine. Maybe I've assigned 0 or something. Oh, where is my generic servlet? Generic servlet. Yeah, here for this one also I've given 1. I cannot give for 0. I have to specify 0 means then it will be. So if I specify, okay. Okay, I hope you got it. You can provide the numbering for this one also. So the init method I'm using, to print some message. So actually what happens is when it's a lifecycle method. Init method is automatically it will be called. But service method, when you give the request, then only it will be called. So that's the reason when the load on startup got started, automatically it is going to say initialization also been done. Are you getting me?
Initialization will be done only once. Yeah. It automatically initialization gets invoked and then service.
The servlet object is created means first init method will be called. So initialization it is automatically doing. Because why it is doing that? Because I have set it as load on startup. That means load on startup when the project is starting up. So create the object of servlet. So when it got created, what it will understand is it automatically calls the init method automatically. And that's the reason we are able to see if the load on startup is not there, I'm not able to see this message. What is that message? Hey, I'm automatically called and I'm always first. So this message I cannot see. When I run the entire project, now I cannot be able to see because I've removed the load on startup for that project, for that class. Are you getting me?
Okay.
So now I have 3 servlets. For 2 servlets only I have given load on startup. but generic servlet I haven't given load and startup. Now let us see in the console what message it will be printing. It has to print only 2 messages.
Oh yeah, it didn't print the init. Yeah.
This is my servlet with the interface. Makes sense? So that
Yeah.
is what is about load and startup. That means that objects are available.
Just that
servlet
they're
is
not
the-
running.
Yeah, the service method, when you give the request, then only service method will be called. But they're in the already ready mode. They are started. Are you getting me?
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, Jyoti.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's about load on startup. Now coming to the servlet request, something called servlet request. We have basically 2 objects. See, after the servlet object has been created, it calls the init method. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
when it is calling init method means it also has to create one object. What is that object? Init method actually will have a parameter, that is servlet config. Okay, that
Yeah.
servlet config object also will be created. When
Mm-hmm.
you call the service method, then servlet request object and servlet response object will be created.
Yes.
I'll tell you, when you deploy the whole application in the server, the first thing is for the entire project, there will be object created. For the whole project, there will be an object created. That is called servlet context object. What do we call?
Servlet context.
When you deploy the entire project in the server, there will be one object will be created. There will be one object will be created, that is servlet context. Once after that, for individual servlet, if I give a particular individual servlet request, so that particular servlet for that particular servlet the object will be created. Are you getting me?
Mm-hmm.
That for that particular servlet the object will be created. So that means servlet context object first, and then servlet object, and then there is another object called servlet configuration object. For that particular file, there is a configuration object, servlet config object, and then request and response objects. 5 objects will be created. First servlet context for the entire project, servlet object for that particular servlet, and servlet config, servlet request, servlet response. These are
Mm-hmm.
all the objects will be created by your web container when you give request. Even if you don't give a request, when you run the entire application on the server, servlet context object will be created by it. Make sense?
Uh-huh.
What object will be created by default when you run the application on the server?
Yeah.
Just
Servlet config.
no, servlet context. Servlet
Servlet context will be created automatically, and then in the init method, the servlet config method gets
Yeah.
initiated, right?
Yeah. But a servlet config object will be created if you give a request. Then only first servlet object will be created.
No, but request is there in service method. Service will be called after init.
Yeah, init method means first servlet object will be created and then servlet config object will be created. Before servlet object and before servlet config object, context means global.
Okay.
Make sense?
Okay.
So, and these objects, they're useful in your application. That's the reason we'll be discussing about it. So request object to get the parameters from a form. If you have a HTML form, you want to read that what is coming, what you are giving as part of a form or something, then I need that request object. It might be general request or it might be HTTP servlet request. Basically, the request object purpose is to read the values, what are coming as an input. And on that, we can perform some operations. So that's it. Now coming to the collaboration. Request collaboration. You want to make a communication between one servlet to another servlet, or you want to make a communication between one servlet to a JSP page, or you want to make a communication between a servlet to a HTML. So in that case, I am going to collaborate the servlets by using request dispatcher, or by using send redirect method. Are you getting me?
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to dispatch a request. We are going to dispatch a request. What do you mean by dispatching a request? Suppose this request dispatcher, before that I would like to tell you one thing, is an interface. Interface means obviously it has methods. One is forward method, another is include. Are you getting me?
Mm-hmm.
So that means I have, let's say, two servlets. I have given a request to my first servlet. The first servlet basically generates some response, some output. This output I'm not directly sending back to the client, is someone who is going to give the request. Instead of that, what I'm going to do is I would like to forward the request to the second servlet. I would like to forward, or we can say dispatching. What is say dispatching? We are going to dispatch the request to the second servlet, or it might be a JSP page also, or it might
Okay.
be any resource. It might be any resource. In that case, I need request dispatcher. So request dispatcher is something which forwards a request from a servlet to any other resource, and your resource can be a servlet, your resource can be a JSP, or it can be a HTML file, but they should be on the servlet, in the servlet. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see an example for that. And finally, let's say you're filling an online form. When you're filling an online form, actually what happens is I have a couple of pages. So that means whatever the body is available in that first form should be available to the second form also. So entirely together, first, second form, third form, fourth form, all this entire data, finally I need to store it in the database. In that case, I need to carry that. I need to dispatch. For that, basically, we'll maintain session tracking to make an association between, or some other ways. Just you want to forward some response to any other servlet, you can use request dispatcher. As you see in the above figure, response of second servlet is sent to the client. Finally, we want to send back to the client. So that means whatever the response has been generated in the first one, we are not giving back to the client. We have some tasks to do the second servlet. That means this response plus second servlet's response, all together response 1 plus response 2 together will be given back to my client. In that case, I'll maintain a dispatch. So dispatch means I don't use directly dispatch. As part of the dispatch, I have a method called forward. Make sense, Jyoti? Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Right. So now, in the same way, we have also sometimes we are going to include. Let's say you are working with a JSP page or HTML form. When you are logging in, actually, you will be applying the credentials. If the credentials have not been mapped, again you are redirecting to the same page. I have to redirect to the same login page. In that case, what I'll be doing is I'm not dispatching. I would like to include the page. If anything got failed, include this page. So that means I'm going to redirect to the same page. So in that case,
Okay. Oh, okay.
I can use include method. So here, when the first request has given, the servlet will generate a response. This response will be given to the second servlet, and finally it will generate a response. And this response will not be given back to the client directly. This response again given back to the first servlet only. That means from the first point only it will be coming. The figure is different. In the previous case, the final response will be directly shared back to the client. But here, the final response will not be directly given back to the client, will be given back to your servlet 1, and from there it will come back to the client. So this is the difference between include and that thing. As you can see in the above figure, you can see something, some point, what he is showing. So the response of the second servlet is included in the response of the first servlet that is being sent to the client. Second servlet is included in the response of the first servlet, so which is being sent to the client. So that means second servlet response, we are going to add it to the first servlet only. That's the difference between include and forward. Directly generated response directly gives back to the servlet 2, and from there it will go to the second one. That's what will Are you getting me?
Yeah,
Just give me 1 second.
sure.
Hello, sorry, Jyoti.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Yes, you got me right. What I'm trying to say now, what we'll do is we'll take one form. This is my form, and here what we are taking is we're taking name and password. And when we are submitting these two values, I want to collect it in my sublet. I know that I have to write it inside the service method, but I'm using HTTP, so that means I have to write inside do get or do post. Now I'm writing inside do post. Fine. Inside the do post, what am I doing? I'm getting response.getWriter, and I would like to
Okay.
read two fields. So they are part of what the person is giving me request. So that means with the help of request object, request, if I get this request, I'm getting a request object in terms of request type I'm getting means I'm getting a type of request object, and this object will be created at the time of application running time. So I'm calling the method and I'm going to get username and password what he's giving in
From
the form.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if what I'm doing is if the particular password equal to admin or something, in that
Mm-hmm.
case, what am I doing is I'm dispatching the request to some mapping I'm doing, and I'm saying that, hey, if the admin got mapped, then request.get request dispatch it to the servlet 2 or any
Mm-hmm.
other thing. It might be
Mm-hmm.
JSP page also, it might be HTML page also. But now I'm redirecting to the servlet. Now you will be redirecting. Okay, so to the servlet, and I'm not directly redirecting to the servlet. I'm giving a URL of the servlet. That means if this URL mapped with the particular servlet, that servlet will be called. Are you getting me? So we are request dispatching means we can send it to HTML page also directly. But what we are doing is instead of that, directly I cannot call the servlet class. I'm taking the URL of that servlet, so that if that mapped whatever the username and password or whatever is there, I'm forwarding the same request and response. I'm forwarding the same request and response to my servlet.
Servlet 2.
Servlet 2. So with this URL, whoever is there, that will be called. So in that case, I might have second servlet. If not, if some case it got failed, what am I doing is I'm taking the same request, the same parameters, the same request and response object, and I'm going to redirect the page, the same, the login page, index.html. Remember that the forward method, the request forward method here. In this example, we are validating the password entered by the user. If the password is servlet, and it will forward the request to the welcome servlet. Otherwise, we'll show an error message and sorry, username and password error. So we are oh, okay. I don't know this one. So here forwards a new request when you are sending if you use the forward method, it sends a new request. But here it sends the same. Okay, it sends the same
Same in the sense the request response will be same.
object. Yeah,
Oh,
to the page. So that is why we use include. Include basically used to redirect to the same page. Basically, login failed or anything got failed. Otherwise, if you want to generate a data, if you want to send it, then go for
yeah,
forward.
that makes sense also because when you do password, it from servlet 2, it's like authentication everything. So if it is forward, it directly sends back to the user. Whereas in the include, it sends back to servlet 1, and the servlet 1 sends back the response to the user.
Right. Hope you got it. So
Yeah, yeah,
you can do this example, right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
want me to
No, I can do it, no problem.
do it, right? In the same way, I have a send redirect. Basically, everyone will be asking what is forward and redirect. Include means you are going to include the same page, okay? But forwarding and redirecting is same. So forward is a method of request dispatcher, and send redirector is a method of HTTP. Yeah, correct. HTTP servlet response. Send redirect is a method of HTTP servlet response. But request dispatcher is an interface which contains forward and include. And this
Just a
forward,
question, do I have to remember all these names?
yeah, you have to remember what is request dispatcher. Request dispatcher interface, you have to tell what is request dispatcher and what is forward, what is send redirect. Compulsory, these are all very important.
Okay.
So the forward method works as at server side, and the send redirect method works at client side. It sends the same request and response object to the another servlet, and it always sends
New
okay,
request.
that new request will be sent. The generated, but here request and response object it will send to the another servlet, and it always sends a newly generated request, and it will send as a new request. It can work within the server only. It can be used within and outside the server. So that means we can forward it to any page, any other Gmail or Google or anything. So that is the meaning of it. And in this one, only
Within servlets. With
servlets are JSPs within the application. But this is anything I can send it. So that's the reason we'll say it as client side. And that's the reason it is working based on server applications. Now all the servlets are JSPs. So that's the reason we say it as server side. And this is any kind of URL you can redirect or Gmail also. I can log into Gmail also by using credentials. If I give a proper credential and proper application, if I write, I can log into my Gmail from my application. To do that, I need a send redirect method. So this is what here send redirect. I can use it to redirect a Java point or any other site. I cannot use this one to request dispatch. Makes sense, Jyoti. So the next thing, that's it. So the major importance we need to know what is the difference between send redirect and request dispatcher. Hope you got it. So in the next immediately we have session tracking. Do you know something about session tracking?
Session is like a particular amount of time where any particular task happens, and after the session is done, it won't remember anything because HTTP protocol is stateless.
HTTP is a stateless. Correct. So can we make it stateful?
Not sure.
As it
Can
is
we
a
make it
stateless.
remember? No, I mean only at that particular point of time when they both are in connection, maybe they are, but after that, once the connection is broken, they won't remember anything. The client or
Okay.
the
Correct. So here forward, when we use a forward method, request is transferred to other resource, but should be in the same server for further processing. In case of send redirect, request is sent to is transferred to another resource to different domain. We can even send it to different domain or different server for further processing. That is send redirect. Are you getting me? In case of forward, web container handle all process internally and client or browser is not involved. Your web container should take care forward method. And when you, that's the reason send redirect is a method of HTTP. Are you getting me? You're getting me? Anything not related to your application, out of application, if you want to perform anything, better to go for send redirect.
Okay.
And when you use send redirect, container transfers the request to client or browser. So URL given inside the send redirect method is visible as a new request to the client. That's it. So these are the main points. And when the forward is called, request dispatcher object was we pass request and response object too. So our old request object is present on new resource, which is going to process our request. In case of SendRedirect, call old request and response object is lost because it's treated as a new request by the browser. That's the difference.
Mhm.
It treats every time as a new request, but here object we pass request and response object. Our old request and object is present on the new resource. When it is visually, we are not able to see the forwarded address. It is transparent. In address bar, we are able to see the new redirected address.
Yeah.
It's not transparent. Okay, that's the
Mhm.
difference. Hope I'm clear with this request dispatcher and
Mhm.
forward and this thing. Now coming to the next one, that's it. Session tracking. Session is something set an interval of time. As you told me, it's right that it is HTTP is stateless protocol. So, but we are making it stateful? No, we cannot make stateful. As it is a stateless, that's the reason I'm going to make an understanding with my server to remember me next time. I cannot make it as a stateful. Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm using some methods to remember me until my task is done. So what is my how to make it remember first time being? We have cookies, hidden form fields, URL, rewriting, and the HTTP session. There are 4 ways we can make the server to remember us, the server to treat us as an existing person.
Then this will become stateful, right?
I'm sorry?
Then that should act as stateful because cookies they're actually storing information for us. So that means from stateless it is becoming to stateful because it is remembering something in order to go somewhere.
We are asking it, we are asking HTTP is stateless only still. But
Okay.
what we do is we are using some other methodologies. Cookies is browser level. If I disable my browser cookies, if you first time if you send a request to a particular your server, it will remember you. Next time it will attach a cookie to you and give it back as a response. And next time the same person has given a request, it will identify, oh, he's an existing person. But if I disable my cookies in my browser, gone. That means cookies are browser dependent.
Okay.
We have an option, right, in the cookies management and all. So if we,
Mm-hmm.
sorry,
Yeah, I got it.
so hidden form fields. That means okay, cookie is nothing but like a page to page connection we should not release. Suppose when you're working on Gmail or something, inbox is there.
I just have
Uh,
a small doubt.
hmm,
These like if you remember cookies is like not what we save, like passwords and usernames. Those will automatically stored in cookies. I have an idea, but the thing is, the some advertisements keep coming right in the sites based on the what we have uh, recently browsed or based on our history.
hmm.
So from cookies, they're able to get that information and they're displaying it on the web page for us from the advertisement. So that means it is actually storing some information and then again projecting back to us like some request response.
Correct. Actually, what happens is you have cookies enable or disable session in your system also, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you enable cookies, so that what happens is you can whatever the previous sites you have opened, everything you can be able to see. That is because of you have cookies in your application. Okay, if we disable cookies, I cannot see the existing previous information or anything. Okay, so generally the people may capture with the cookie information, they can capture IP address. If they have disabled their cookies, they cannot be able to do anything.
Okay.
Or they can capture with IP address only. That's it. There's no other way.
Mm-hmm.
Cookies, if someone hits your application, it will be capturing the data from where what he is giving with that identity, it will be getting. Next time he gives a request, then it will immediately find out here he's the same person or not.
So in Java, when we are saying it is secure, how about usage of cookies is being
Yeah.
stopped by Java?
So what I'm saying is Java is secured in the sense I'm talking about application. Your application, what you have developed, that is secure or not, because that is not running on. We are security in the sense there are two ways. One is your application security. That means anything got damaged by your system. Your system got damaged. Still, your application should not be getting affected because it is not running on the what do you say, direct operating system
Operating
environment.
system. Yeah.
It is going to run on the JVM's environment. That is one way, virus attacks and all. But this session tracking, the other way of security in the sense, we are going to maintain some things like server level. Server level when you're working, that kind of security is different. So that's the reason when you give a request also, I want HTTPS transfer protocol security.
Yeah.
Why we need to maintain is for authentication purposes or for authorization purpose or some valid data will be there. Data level when you talk, then session tracking or security will come. But when you talk application level, then JVM. Are you getting me?
Mm-hmm.
Your application level, your application means your code level, JVM is responsible. But the transactions level, transactions, what data you're sending from the server, it is not the same system we'll be using. We'll be working the application when you deploy it in the server, multiple systems are trying to access that application. In that case, I need to maintain the security. That security is different. That security we'll be making, we'll call it as authentication or authorization security. And this what I'm talking is tracking. Tracking is nothing but when the person has developed an application, and if it is a web application, and the web application means he will be having several modules. Let's say Gmail is my web application. In the Gmail application, I have inbox, sent mail, compose, and something else. So when I click on each everything, so every click it has to connect to me to the server, and it has to get me the same page. But when I click on that particular each and everything, it is maintaining an association between your inbox and your sent mail and your draft box, all the things. So that means every time it will not ask me to log in
Mm-hmm.
because it is maintaining some session. It is session, we can also say it as the login to your logout time. That means these three modules I need to make a connectivity. That means these three modules need to track some information commonly. How do you track this common information commonly in between these three modules? That is what is a tracking system. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jyoti, you're clear with that, right?
Yeah.
And okay, I hope you got it. Application level security is different. Tracking is different. Complete security is different.
Yeah.
Security is nothing but authentication and authorization. We have different ways to authorize or authenticate a person. That is different. Tracking is to link, to maintain the link so that it should not treat you as every time some data I have inbox, I have sent mail, uh, I've sent it from my mail to my same mail ID. So that means whatever I sent it, it has to maintain in the inbox. How this connectivity will be getting to know? These are different pages or different servlets. So these two servlets, how they are going to connect it? Some unique thing we have to maintain in between them. That is what is session tracking. So that session tracking I can maintain with a cookie or a hidden form fields or URL rewriting. But the best way is HTTP session. As there are request related types, all you are going to relate it on web based. Web means HTTP session tracking is the best one.
Okay.
So out of the four, to make an association between the five servlets, I use association. association between the 5 servlets, I'll maintain HTTP session tracking. I've got some information in the page 1. That information I need in this page 2. And page 1 and page 2 information together I want in page 3. And page 1, page 2, page 3 information I need in page 4. How would I get it? What kind of association I'm making? I need to maintain the session to fetch all the
Correct.
data. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that is what is session tracking. So cookies, how do you create a server? Cookies in the servlet. By using cookies. Cookies, the problem is I told you that if you disable your cookies, cookie is a class basically. It contains message, name, value, set name, value, set cookie, add cookie. If you want to set multiple cookies also you can set it. So you are going to set some name as a cookie. I'm going to create a cookie class and that variable is user and the value of that cookie is it's like a key value. Key is my user and value is Sona Jaiswal. And this one I've created cookie object and then when I give the request it will generate to me a response. So when it has generated a response, by the time of response generation, it will internally adds this cookie and give it to me. When the same person gives the request, it will treat as an existing one only. It will not treat the new one because it identifies with the cookie. So here servlet 1 is there, servlet 2 is there. When I submit, it will go to servlet 1 and it will capture the information. And here, when I submit something over here, I have button. So the servlet 1 information also will be captured to servlet 2. So what am I doing for that? So it should not treat me as a new person because I am in the same application and they are modules. So servlet 1 to servlet it has to have some connectivity. That is session tracking. For that reason, I'm using cookies now. So I'm going to create a cookie, some text or something I would like to maintain. At the time of sending a value or sending a data, at the time of that, I'll also send as a response. Jyoti, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
Sure,
Next
sure.
we'll continue.
Okay.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
please go through till here and tomorrow we'll see.
Sure, sure, no problem.
హలో హలో హలో